the knitting carriage needed to be threaded for this particular example with the burgundy color yarn. And as you can see, this is fairly thick yarn, well situated for this bulky unit. If you have standard machine, which is 4.5 millimeter distance between the needles, you would be using much thinner yarn. So you just take the end of your threaded yarn out of the tension mast holder, hold it with both hands, and just push it into the needle threader right here on your unit, but please open the latch right here up front first. You can see the latch right here. Now you're holding this length of the yarn under the machine right here with your left hand. Close the yarn holder with the right hand and move the carriage across of those selected needles slowly. So for this particular step you're using your both hands. Right hand, as you can see, I have under the knitting carriage, and the left hand is on the handle of the knitting carriage. So here we are. Okay, now you can see what happened to the needles. They moved into that B working position, general working position, as I mentioned before, and this clamp goes on the end of this yarn, string of yarn, and it's gonna be just hanging down here. So the next step, I have this cast on comb, which is has hooks on top of it, and for our sample pattern, this short cast on comb is long enough. It's longer than our sample actually, so we're just positioning it the way to make it even on both ends if it's longer than the sample we're making. So we're just pushing down on the hooks on this cast on comb and hanging it down here. Make sure that this last section where you have your thread going to the knitting carriage after the last needle right here is not caught by the hooks on cast on comb. Just go around the last hook and release the thread if it happened. So now I would add some tension to this cast on comb, and that's what this claw weights would be used for. Just open it up and hang it on left side of cast on comb, or I should say your sample, and on the right side of it like this. So now you're ready for second row, and you using your trusting needle pusher again, push forward into B working position those needles which are resting in A non-working position with the solid part of this needle pusher like this. So now you have all of these needles, 20 needles total, remember 10 on the left and 10 on the right of the center, in B working position. Needle pusher goes back into the holder, and here we are. Knitting carriage goes across of the knitting bed slowly again, just like this, and you formed first real row of the stitches for the sample. Now from this position you should change the tension on your tension dial. I would change it from 1 to 4 for this particular yarn and for this sample I'm making in here, but if you experiment with a different kind of yarn or have some other needs, you can change this tension at any time. Just do a little experimenting and you will know what tension is best for you and for that particular yarn you're using. Now as I mentioned before, the tripper on the carriage has to be set down, and then we'll be going just across the knitting beds, and you will see how fast the sample knitting sample will grow. So I will be making about 25, 26, maybe 30 rows, and you will see that it will grow right before your eyes. Here we are. Okay, now I made 35 rows of this knitting, and you see how big it is already. So it took me about maybe 1 minute to make it, and you can see that's where the power of machine knitting is. You literally see how fast your fabric grows before your eyes, especially on the bulky unit, which this machine is. So this way you can knit pretty much anything you imagine from the first lesson. If you have an idea to knit some scarf, this would be a great way to do it. So choose your favorite yarn. If you like the soft ones, you can do that, or the acrylic ones I have in here myself. You can use and knit a long scarf as you like, or anything else to that matter, to your desire. So now the last step of this lesson would be to show you how to take the sample off the knitting pads. And this method is suitable for making swatches or just test knitting. It's very fast, very easy, and I would recommend it just if you need to save time on taking the swatch of the knitting pads. And again, it's described in your manual, but for this particular lesson I'll show you this to you that you know this on your own without manual. Now we're taking the weights off of the machine, core weights. For now they're just resting right here in the back of the machine. You can rest them anywhere else, wherever you desire. And then we're taking the yarn out of the carriage, open up the latch up front of the yarn holder, pull the yarn carefully out of here. It might get caught on something else on the way. Just pry your way through the parts and you will have it loose pretty soon. And then you just take your scissors and cut the yarn off and insert the length of that yarn back in a tension mast, and the one belongs to the swatch gonna be hanging down. That if you don't want this to get caught inside of the knitting carriage while you're passing it across the pads, you just use another handy tension tool and release it, hang it down. Now machine is set up for the knitting carriage is set up for the basic knitting again, and you're just gonna run this carriage across the knitting beds slowly and see what happens. As you can see, your knitting is released in one little sweep on the knitting carriage. Now you can see what it looks like closer. This is the back of the knitting, as you can see. When this piece was hanging on the machine, that's what was facing us. Now if you turn it around, you can see that this side is actually a face side of the knitting. That's how machine works. The same way it works on pattern knittings and any kind of knittings you do. So this will consist our lesson for the beginners, showing how to knit this basic sample on the bulky Brother single bed knitting machine. And thank you for being with us.